morning. I just learned a ton this morning. I learned about how the tech world is evolving. I learned about how AppDirect continues to lead to create the digital success. But probably I learned more about Chicago than I have in years. So it's a pleasure for me to be here, and I'm excited to introduce the next session, which is the Channel Chief panel. This panel will actually tackle a lot of topics. We're going to talk about market condition. We're going to talk about buyer's habit. We're going to look at your go-to-market and sales strategy. And very importantly, we're going to look at the role of the channel and the partners. Let me introduce the speakers for this panel, the channel chiefs. From Zoom, we have Mike Conlon. From Vonage, we have Akhil Shahid. From Verizon, we have Martina. And from Airespring, we have John Young. Welcome, settle in, comfy, all good. So let's jump right in. And I think that we're going to start at a macro level and talk a little bit about how buyer habits are changing. And what we're seeing is that businesses now want to buy from fewer partners that can deliver end-to-end solution and help them in this increasing complex landscape. So I'm going to start with you, John, since you're the furthest away. I can see big stage, right? So are you seeing these buyer habit change, and how has Airespring responded to these shifts?
So we have seen the buyer habits change quite frequently. The SMB and mid-market were really insulated from some of the enterprise red tape, and we're seeing that there's more control and compliances coming down into the SMB and mid-market space, primarily in the security side. Everyone is concerned about their security policies, their security postures. Do we have it right? Mid-market and SMB can't absorb security breaches maybe the same way an enterprise can, so they're more concerned about it. But what they want is more control over their network. What can we see? What can we do? What do we have control over our hardware? And Airespring gives them that ability. On the security side, it's one of those things where the advisor and the customer may not know what they're asking for. We've been asked randomly for our SOC 2 certification more from SMB and mid-market than we ever have before. It's the new HIPAA compliance, I guess. But everybody's now asking us for that. So we wrap a team around the advisor and the customer, because the customer is now asking different questions than they did a year ago. Advisors are now learning security. I think it wasn't native to what this business was built on, this industry was built on. So they don't want to paint themselves in a corner and feel like they don't know the answers. So Airespring wraps a team around these opportunities so we can discover exactly what they're trying to solve today, but in a year, 2 years, what's coming down for their business.
Yeah, they come to you a lot more educated, so
Absolutely.
You need to adjust to this. And Mike, I'll turn it over to you. What changes have you made in your go-to-market strategy at Zoom to adapt to these buyer habit changes?
Sure. Well, I think the go-to-market strategy for Zoom has changed significantly over the years, right? I think everyone can understand over the last 4 to 5 years, just our business model, our go-to-market strategy, and the way that we engage with the channel has changed so much. When you think about even what Nick was talking about earlier with the makeup of the car and buying out the cars, the components individually, and what does that mean to a buyer being able to buy an entire technology stack together, that's played a big part in terms of how Zoom has evolved from a platform that had 4 products to a platform that now has 24 products. And how are we working with the technology advisors to align the technology stack so we can offer more? I think a big part of the buying persona that we're selling into today collectively with everyone in this room is they're looking for consolidation of their applications or consolidation of that technology stack, and how can they do more with less. Thankfully, the technology advisor is involved with that client in so many different attributes of their business. So, our go-to-market strategy has changed significantly because we're trying to understand, how has that buying persona changed? What are the time-based compelling reasons? And what are the business objectives that we're aligned to? And sometimes we can't get to that without the technology advisors. So, our go-to-market has changed significantly from a direct model when we were a meetings-only company to a significant focus on building out the channel because the platform has changed, the buying personas have changed, and let's face it, over the last 4 years, the acceleration of a hybrid market or a remote workforce has changed what our customers need from us today.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting because I think it presents an opportunity as customers want to buy more, right? For providers to expand the solution set, but also for partners to bring all these solutions together.
100%.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about M&A. It's hard to not touch on this topic because we've seen so much consolidation and M&A activity in the channel. So Mark, maybe I'll go to you. What do you think is the impact of all this consolidation and M&A activities that we've seen?
Sure, it's definitely been accelerating. And look, mergers and acquisitions is something that has gone on in business for decades. Here at Verizon, we were born over 20 years ago as a result of several mergers prior, and we've acquired many companies since. That's at the enterprise level, but you're starting to see this consolidation take place in small, medium business, and certainly here in the channel. What's important, though, is you got to get it right for the end customer, right? So whether you are buying a company, merging with a company, coming together as one, it has to be with the customer in mind. What value are you now bringing to the customer that was not there prior? How do you extend that differentiation reach? And then beyond the customer, right, I think you also have to care about the employees within that both organizations coming together. How do you get the people right? How do you get the culture right? Because essentially that's what creates the end result for the customer. And then of course you have to get your system integration and platform and everything there. So what we're seeing in the channel is in different ways, companies coming together to either extend their geographical reach, maybe they want to get to different parts of the country or the globe through a merger or an acquisition. Maybe they want to expand their portfolio. You mentioned security, right? That's obviously prominent in any solution. You can't talk to a customer about technology without bringing up security. So maybe whether it's security or some other form of technology to enhance the overall portfolio and again, differentiation for the customer. So we see a lot of this. There's also risks to it, right? There's risks where maybe you're fracturing some human relationships. I think people buy from people. We all know that in the channel to be critical to anyone's success. And a lot of times when companies come together, maybe you lose a little bit on the customer relationships that were there or the partner relationships that were there. So it's critical to get it right. And I think that we've seen a lot of successful M&A within the channel that have allowed companies to get better, advancing their portfolio and obviously their market share as a result. And we've seen some not so good ones, and we've seen those here at Verizon as well. So I think we're going to see it continue, and I think it's important that we get it right when it takes place.
Yeah, it's probably a natural evolution, right, in an industry that has been booming. Akhil, I'm going to turn it over to you. What do you see as the potential impact of all this M&A activity and consolidation in the channel?
Yeah, I mean, and just to resonate what Mark said, obviously that's inevitable, especially in our space right now. The evolution that's taking place in the technology industry, the pace of innovation that's happening, there's no way for organizations to continue to keep up without actually merging forces. And actually, it's actually good for the channel because it really brings additional opportunities for partners to be able to provide unique solutions as long as it's done right. So I think that's the critical component, is doing it right. And the important thing as well is the consolidation isn't just happening at the provider level, right? It's happening at the partner levels too, where agencies and partners are joining together, creating the super partners, super agencies to go out there and be able to provide a much more compelling solution for their end buyers too. And with all the different technology elements that are being purchased now, it's no longer just a software, it's now looking at the entire technology stack. So I think it really enables a technology advisor to get in there and be able to provide a more comprehensive solution.
Yeah, simplifies supply chain to an extent for all of us.
Absolutely.
Yeah, very good. So shifting a little bit, you're all providers, and as providers, you have many routes to market. You can go direct, you can work through partners, you can work through distributors, and now you can even sell through digital platforms and marketplace like AppDirect. So Mike, I'm going to start with you. How important are these different routes to market as you build your go-to-market strategy?
For Zoom, it is a significant focus for how we go to market, right? It just, you think of the company that, where we were even, like I said, 4 or 5, 6 years ago, where we were primarily a direct customer or a direct, partner selling meetings. And we've grown so much, and when you think about what the platform includes today, from UCaaS to CCaaS, but as I had mentioned, there's 24 different products within our platform now trying to offer that standardized solution. There's no way to route to market without leveraging the channel, so we don't really focus on direct internally anymore. It is all of our focus is how do we align with the technology advisors? How do we build out our distribution path? And how do we leverage the marketplace? I mean, the marketplace, as it showcased today, and I know everyone in this room is familiar with it, but that's a significant advantage for how we go to market and how each and every one of you go to market with your clients. Because in today's day and age, you think the average CIO, I saw a stat last week, the average CIO is now in their late 30s and they're a millennial, and how did they grow up even leveraging technology and self-service and how can we provide that experience to everyone in this room? So when you've got something like the marketplace, and having Zoom inside the marketplace is a big focus for us. And this is why that we love the partnership with AppDirect, because it allows us to go outside and differentiate how we're reaching everyone in this room. Because when we can reach out to you, then you reach out to your clients. So if we can be in the marketplace and offer the enablement and offer the content that you need in real time with the ability to for that fulfillment aspect of it, that acceleration to market is so important to us. And I think that when you're leveraging the marketplace, that gives everyone in this room the ability to act faster, act more autonomous, and be more self-sufficient. And if you do that, then you're bringing more value to your clients. So, whether it is through the resale model, whether it's through distribution, but most importantly through the platforms that allow us to equally act just as fast, I'm incredibly excited. Everybody at Zoom is incredibly excited for just the continuation of that platform to grow.
Yeah, the marketplace really allows you to reach the partner at the moment in time where they need that information,
100%.
right? And as Nick pointed out this morning, it's about people plus technology, because having the team around it is essential still. Right?
1,000%.
Yeah. Akil, over to you. How do you see these different routes to market when you're building your go-to-market strategy at Vonage?
Yeah, no, great question, Renee. So when you look at historically where Vonage has always distributed products when we first started, it was a very direct route to market, right? So we had direct sellers that were out there, focusing on the mid-market, SMB, and enterprise segment. And we've very quickly evolved now to where we have this multi-channel, kind of a focus right now. So we're obviously distributing through the channel community. We're distributing now through our MSPs, SI partners, alliance partners, like Salesforce, for example, Amazon Web Services, Microsoft, right? So we've seen that evolution, and to what Mike just said, obviously that's where the buyer is now, right? The buyers are spending more time through digital channels and how they're basically researching, finding the product they want, and they want to be able to quickly go and purchase. So the evolution that you're going to see and where we're seeing ourselves go is meeting that buyer where they want to be, which is basically developing a marketplace, working obviously alongside AppDirect and other marketplaces like AWS, for example, to be able to deliver our services there so customers can actually go point-click purchase. I hate to say this, but I think during the pandemic, we got really used to this Amazon buying experience, right? We want to be able to buy it now and consume right away. And that has definitely moved into the business segment as well, and that's kind of what people are expecting. And so we see that accelerating very quickly, and so we're really focusing on that avenue of distribution. The other avenue is really working with SI partners, implementation partners that are out there implementing those complex solutions, right? Especially with the AI conversation that's happening, right? Being able to work with them to come alongside them on that mapping journey and help them through that process of designing the solution. Obviously, implementing our product as part of that solution and providing a more comprehensive solution that way.
Yeah, excellent, excellent. And maybe to take it over to you, Mark, Verizon is obviously a very large organization, so multiple routes to market. Yeah. How does the channel play in that omni-channel strategy?
So one of our crown jewels at Verizon is our distribution strategy. So when you look at our direct distribution, just a quick minute on that, Obviously, we've got over 100,000 employees across the globe. We've got direct sellers across the various business segments, global enterprise, public sector, small, medium business. We also have over 10,000 brick and mortar points of distribution that a lot of our small, medium business customers come in to transact, purchase our products and services. We have business specialists there that are ready to go. Where the channel comes in, and by the way, the reason I love this question is my 20 years at Verizon have always been leading large teams in those direct motions, coming over to the channel and by the way, I always partnered with many of you out there within the channel, but coming into the channel to lead the channel for Verizon at such a critical time in our industry, the timing couldn't be better, right? And so Verizon has always been in the channel. We are now double down. And the reason that is so critical is we can't do it all ourselves. We understand that. We have core competencies. We have an award-winning mobile network, ubiquitous across the US, one of the largest global IP backbones on the globe, but we need help, right? We need managed services. We need professional services. We need enhanced services. And it happens when we all come together. What I love about what we're doing at Verizon is we have several motions available, right? There's a sell with, where we partner with all of you. So a lot of times our direct sellers are partnered up with a channel partner, depending on what the solution is. What is going to be best for the customer, and how do we differentiate against our competitor is what matters. And many times there's multiple partners at the table, depending on the size of the client and the size of the deployment. We also have, obviously, sell-through models, where many of you are out there today selling directly to the customer. You represent our brand, and we love that as well. So similar to my first response, the channel distribution really allows us to expand locally, as well as nationally and globally. It helps us to get into new markets, niche markets, vertical markets that many of you have expertise in. And so together, we can win. There's so much business out there to be had, and this channel, our channel partnerships are critical to the success of Verizon Business.
Yeah. And so speaking about that, let's double click on the role of the channel, and specifically the role of the partner and the technology advisors. And we'll start with you, Akhil. How do you see the role of the technology advisor evolving in the next 2 to 5 years?
Yeah, I think right now where the space is, the role of a technology advisor is the most important it's ever been. Because there's so much noise out there, right? As a buyer, and as Mike said, and the rest, everyone else has talked about as well, the buyer has completely changed. How they're purchasing, the information that they have available for them is coming at them rapidly, right? When you think about a buyer today, when they're looking to go purchase a service, they're going online, they're researching, like I mentioned, right? They're getting all this information, but how do they decipher all this information coming to them? How do they make sense out of it, all the noise out there? And that's really where the technology advisor plays a critical role, right? They're coming in alongside that customer, helping them, make sense off the data and all the information they've gathered. In fact, I think there was a research I read recently from Gartner where about 83% of that buying journey is happening by the buyer researching things on their own. Yeah. It's the last 17% of the decision-making factor where they're bringing in the vendors to sit down with them, go through demos that they need the advisor to help them navigate through. So I think that's the critical component that you're going to see more of. The other big component is once they make the decision, the deployment, the rollout, the ROI aspect of things, right? That's where the technology advisor also helps. Really help them make sure that the solution that they actually procured is the right solution. So they're coming in a very agnostic manner, helping them find the right solution for the problem they're trying to solve, and then deploying it and recognizing the ROI so that it's actually rolled out the way it should be rolled out as well. So I think, again, it's an evolving industry right now, very quickly evolving industry, and the advisor is needed to help them through that journey now more than ever before.
Now more than ever before, indeed. John, over to you at Airespring. How do you see the role of the technology advisors evolving over the next few years?
I see it changing rapidly in the fact that a lot of you got into this business to cash really big commission checks. And what you've done is build this industry, the reason we're up here. What you're now dealing with is what we deal with as suppliers, which is churn. Churn has become a really big issue in this business, just based upon everybody wanting to come in. You're at risk of losing your customer if you do not become a better account manager. Your companies need to mine the accounts that you've sold this year, last year, 3 years ago. You cannot wait until that contract comes due to then start engaging in the next 3 years. The portfolios that you have access to with Airespring and with others allow you to sell many different products into that customer all along the way. What that does is makes that customer more sticky to you, your relationship grows, and you don't allow another trusted advisor to come in and take the rest of your business. I see it so many times, and it was just mentioned, where one part of the deal you're working on, another partner's working on another part of the deal, and that just creates confusion for the customer. But you're allowing that to happen if you do not engage constantly. So I believe the account management aspect, especially with the M&A, if you want to value your book of business to get sold down the road, make sure that you're protecting that business right away, because if it walks out the door, so does your valuation.
Yeah.
Great advice. I'm going to give you a chance to, because this is an important question.
I love
How
this
do you see the technology advisor's role evolving?
I love this question for so many reasons. One, I think that the role of the advisor is more important now than ever before. To what John had just said right there at the end was, there's other partners working in your same accounts. And we had just talked about we used the analogy that Nick had mentioned with buying the car, and people are looking to build a technology stack with one partner and leverage that. It's the same with technology advisors, right? They don't want to be working with 4 or 5 different technology advisors. They want to be working with one partner that can help them and educate them, right? So it's engaging with them, educating them, and empowering them to accelerate their business. So, we had heard a couple years ago, we were at a CIO forum, and the CIO gets up in front of about 350 different CIOs across the entire US, and he said, the role of a CIO or a technology leader is to build a technology stack that gives his or her company an advantage in the marketplace. And at the top of that technology stack is how you communicate, both internally and externally. And of course, there's a lot of it. There's networking and security and storage, and I understand all of that, but if you strip away communication, you strip away the needs of a lot of the other stuff. But he said, how you communicate internally and externally single-handedly has the biggest impact on revenue growth. So how are we leveraging as technology advisors? How are you leveraging the ability to educate your clients moving forward? I mean, this industry is moving faster than ever before. We talked about AI, and everyone's been talking about AI, and what does that mean in 2 to 3 years from now? But it's up to everyone in this room to educate your clients, engage with them, and empower them to build a better technology stack so their business can accelerate. Mergers and acquisitions, right? Mark had talked about mergers and acquisitions. They're happening at a faster pace. The role of a CIO or any technology leader is playing, there's actually a seat at the boardroom for them now, because as they're merging 5 to 6, maybe 8 different companies a year, the big question is, hey, Mr. Technology leader, how are you consolidating the technology stack to give us economies of scale? So they need everyone in this room more than ever before, and the way that Zoom is looking at this is we need you more than ever before. Our investment is, how are we building out our channel to be 100% focused on giving them the enablement that they need, giving them the information that you all need, because we might be at 35, 40, 50% channel in terms of our business, but we're not going to stop until we are full channel. And that's been a question that some people have had is, Zoom has been direct. Well, historically we were, but if you look at all the investments that we're making, both on the front end and on the back end, it's how do we support everybody in this room?
Yeah, right. Indeed. Okay, we got a couple minutes left, but I want to double click. If the role of the advisor is more important than ever, then enabling and empowerment of the channel is critical. So Mark, over to you. What's your approach when it comes to enablement, and how do you help advisors match the right solutions to the right customer?
Sure. So essentially, right, especially when you think about going 100% with the channel, right, essentially these advisors become the brand, right? For the customer, you all represent Verizon when you're selling Verizon to that customer, whatever the solution may be. So the approach we take is to arm you and equip you with very similar, if not the same exact tools and resources we give our direct sellers. It's very transparent. A good example, we have an internal propensity buying model that we call Artemis, and it allows us to gauge which customers and which verticals are most likely to buy product X, Y, or Z. We're able to distribute and curate really good, powerful campaigns to call on. That's within a prospective base of customers, right? But then within our existing base, we obviously have a lot of great intelligence from our own reporting and systems and analytics, and that's where we want to equip our trusted advisors to do cross-sell, upsell, across the stack, given all of the different solutions and capabilities that are out there. So that is one example where we provide that. We also continue to invest in our team. Many of them are here today, of our channel managers and channel partners that are out there training and educating the advisors on a regular basis. We're willing to come on site. We do a lot of things, whether it be video, again, face-to-face. That training can be basic on Verizon, just fundamental knowledge, and it can get into some deep expertise. We've got architects and engineers to assist, so we do that. We also give access into our BGCO, which is our premier customer support for business customers. We have a PEG team that interfaces with our partners to make sure that your customers, our customers together, get that same level of service that our direct customers get, in addition to the premium service that all of you provide as well. So we try to be there for the customers together as one. The last thing I would say, and we've got a lot of work to do here, is certainly API integration. Verizon has started to do more and more of that with our partners, which will make the life of a trusted advisor, of course, easier, whether it be quoting, right, or actual selling, or access to sales materials, resources, whatever it may be. And while we make those available today already, and they've been beneficial, we all know that true API integration is what's going to get us there. We've recently launched some things, and we're looking to really accelerate and invest heavily and double down on that to help further enable our trusted advisors who, again, essentially become Verizon at the end of the day.
Excellent. John, you're going to get the last word, 20 seconds. What does work well for partner enablement?
Airespring is 100% channel. 100% of our revenues come from the channel. So we have to enable channel partners to sell our portfolio. So we do SASE and SD-WAN boot camps, and we've educated about 2,500 people in the last 5 years just on this product line. So if we're not enabling the channel, we don't sell. So we love the trusted advisors, and we hope that we can continue to educate as technology advances.
Well, I love the focus, and I love the insights from all of you. A huge thank you for joining us today on this Channel Chief panel. And now we're going to turn it back to Ryan.
Thank you. Yeah. Right on.